Good day, everyone. Today we're going to go over Project Coin Sorter, and I'm going to show you how I 3D modeled it so that you can understand how to 3D model your own coin sorter, or you could 3D model a modification of this coin sorter, or you could just, not do a coin sorter and do anything that relates to history in general. So let's get started. We're gonna jump to the basic shapes. We're gonna grab a box right here. You click on it, then click somewhere on your work plane. And we're gonna change the dimensions a bit. I'm gonna click one of the white boxes, then click a number. And what I want you to note before you start 3D modeling, make sure you go to edit grid and you're in inches. If you're in millimeters, just switch it to inches and then update the grid. Okay? Because this model is done in inches, not millimeters. So click on one of the white boxes, go over here. We're going to change this dimension to 4.5. I'm going to click on the model and just move it. Minimize this information dialog box for a sec. And now I'm going to change this dimension instead of 1 to 1.25. Nice. We made it like wider, and we're going to change the thickness. Instead of 1, it'll be 2.6. There you go. All right. There's something called a work plane, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab a work plane. So by grab, I mean click on this work plane tool, and then click on top of your model. And what it does is it creates a new plane to work on so that you don't have to keep trying to move your model up and maneuver it. It's like a cheat sheet. So what we're going to do is go here to basic shapes. We're going to click on a wedge. And we're going to just place the wedge right by the shape. Okay, and then we're going to try to find our cylinder shape. We're going to click the cylinder shape, put it here, and then we're going to click here where it says duplicate and repeat. You could also use Control D. And I'm going to grab the cylinder shape, click on it, hold it, and move it to the side. And now I'm going to click on it again, and notice that it automatically does it. So I like the duplicate and repeat because all you have to do is do it once and then move it, and then it repeats your movement. Whereas copy and paste does not do that. I just wanted 4 cylinders. And remember, if you're using the 3D modeling tool your best friend in the world is your view cube. It helps you look at your model differently. And to zoom in and out, use the plus and the minus sign. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's click on the web shape, and you see these it's like a half circle with little arrows. We're going to click on that, and where it says 0, we're going to type in 90. Oh no, not 90. I wanted to maybe negative 180. Does that make sense? No. Let's move it right here. So negative 90. And now we're gonna change the dimensions of this. Instead of 1, I want this dimension to be 4.5. And instead of just 1 and width, we're going to change that to 1.25. Nice. Excelente. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on this red shape. Click on and hold the shift key on your keyboard. And then click on the shape, and then click align. And then you're gonna click the center black dot right here. And you're gonna click this center black dot right here. Now let's look at it from a different perspective. If you need to move the cylinders, let's move the cylinders for a little bit. So this is kind of the overall shape that you want. Okay, now we're gonna click what is this called? Wedge. Click this triangle wedge shape. Then click and hold the shift key on your keyboard. And now you're gonna go, and you'll notice that a little blue highlight is all over both models. It means both models have been selected. And then you come over here and you group. Now you have one solid shape. What I want you to do is we're gonna copy and we're gonna paste this shape. So you should have another blue shape here, and I'm gonna move it, and I'm gonna change its color, and I'm gonna change it to this like deep red. And I'm just gonna make this deep red shape, instead of 1.4 inches wide, I'm gonna make it 0.1. So I want it to be really, really thin. Okay? And what I'm gonna do is copy and paste that shape. And I'm gonna move it in front of it. So now I have these two thin deep red shapes. We're gonna use these deep red shapes later. So for now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on whichever one. Make sure it's selected. Notice that blue highlight. And then you're gonna go over here where it says hide, and it looks like a little light bulb, like a dim light bulb, and you're gonna click it and it hides it. So we're gonna do that again with this model. We're gonna click it and then go over here to the dim light bulb and hide it. So now they're both hidden. We're gonna continue. So because this is a coin sorter and coins have different dimensions, we're gonna change each of these cylinders. Your favorite friend in anything related to 3D modeling or design that has to do with a program is the Control and the Z, so the undo option. So whenever you make a mistake, hit undo. So I accidentally rotated this. So undo, okay, your favorite friend. So right now we're gonna click on the cylinder, we're gonna move it, and we're gonna change this particular cylinder. So instead of 1 and 1, I want it to be 0.97 to 0.97. Okay, so that's 1. Let's grab another one, and we're going to change its dimension. Let's put, instead of 1 and 1, 0.85, 0.85. So now let's get another one. .76 by 0.76. So we have that one. And then we're going to get another one. We're going to click on the corners. And we're going to change it to 0.72. 0.72. And we have another shape. So we have this big cylinder, which it's going to be where it's going to represent our quarter. The next shape is the nickel, and the next shape is the penny, and the last shape is the dime. Remember that the penny is the size, the physical size of the penny is bigger than the dime, even though the dime has more monetary value. Don't get confused. All right, so we've changed the size of our cylinders. Now what we want to do is kind of line them up. Right now I just they're kind of crooked and I want them lined up. So I'm going to click on top view. Probably zoom out a little bit. And there's something here where it's switch to flat view. So it helps you with your eyes to see the models. So this is 3D view, so you see the other side of the model, and whereas flat view you only see the completely top view, no sides. It's not 3D. So that helps you sometimes align or look at your model differently. So what I'm gonna do is I want to click away from the cylinders. So where you see my mouse, click, and you see where I'm creating this box. So click and hold to create a box, and then select all your shapes. Make sure your box is inside, your cylinders are inside the box, and then let go. And now you've selected all the cylinder shapes. Then you're going to come over here to align. Click align. And then what I want you to do is click this center black dot on the right-hand side. And that makes it perfectly center in with each other. Now I want you to click somewhere away, and they're still kind of spaced out weird, even though they're lined up horizontally really nicely. So what we're gonna do is click on one of them, and on your keyboard, images. So on your keyboard, and don't purchase this, I'm not suggesting you purchase it. You see the arrow keys? You're going to use those arrow keys on your keyboard to move your shape. So I'm going to hit the left key on my keyboard and move it. And I wanted to barely touch the other cylinder shape. And we're going to do the same for this one. We're going to nudge it. It's called nudge. You're nudging when you use the arrow keys to move your 3D model. Click on this one. We're going to nudge it. Now that they're in a row, kind of. Now we could space them out, And this is, it's not going to be perfect, so it's okay if you feel like they're still spaced out weird. You just want to space them out enough where it seems like each cylinder has enough space between them. Sometimes you just count nudges in your head, like, all right, I'm going to nudge this 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now I'm going to nudge this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then nudge this. 1, 2, 3. So this is still like very far away. What I'm going to do is like bring it closer. 1, 2. So that looks about right. It looks good enough. So now I'm going to select all these cylinder shapes. So I'm going to click over here, click and hold, create this box, this red dotted box. Make sure all the cylinder shapes are within the red box, and then let go. And then I am going to group them. All right, let's change the angle. Let's make it 3D again, and let's change the angle. So instead of... So right now they're kind of short. We're going to change the dimension real quick. We're going to make it thicker. And by making it thicker, we're going to make it at least 4 inches. So we're going to click here, this center white box. And instead of 1, we're going to type in 4.0. So now it's like thicker. We're going to move it into our blue shape. So let's look at it from the top view. Let's click on the cylinder shapes. Click the shift key on the keyboard. When I say shift key, I mean that arrow. Like that is the shift key, where it's the arrow up key that's above the control key. Or it says shift. It should say shift. Let me see if this keyboard says shift. So yeah, it says shift on it. So that key on your keyboard. Hit and hold the shift key and then select the blue shape. And then you're going to click here, the align. And you're going to click the center black dot and the center black dot again. Now they're perfectly center with each other. Let's look at it from a different angle. Yep. It's looking good. It's looking really good. Now click away. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on this, the work plane. Click on it. And then click somewhere here. And we have reset the work plane. Alrighty then. Let's change the cylinders a little bit. So we're going to click on the cylinders, and remember, they're grouped together. And instead of it being like the solid orange color, we're going to make it into a hole. So it's kind of see-through-y and grayed out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to lower these cylinder shapes into the blue shape. One way to lower them is to click on, do y'all see this like cone? This black cone right here? And whenever I touch it, it turns red. So you can move a shape by clicking and holding that black cone that turned red. And when you hold it and you push your mouse up or down, that's how you could move your models up or down. I'm going to undo what I did. And what I'm going to do is click on this black cone, push it down, and you see this number right here? So click on it and click negative 2.5. Oh no. What have I done? Control Z. Oh, I didn't mean to do negative. Sorry. So let's do it one more time. My bad. I meant to say click on the black cone and type 2.5? No, that's not right. That's not right. Oh, that's weird. Oh. Huh. Okay. There might be a slight issue in how I wrote the guide. Oh, okay. I see the issue. We're gonna click on the black cone, and then when we lower it, change this to 0.5. Let's lower it a little bit more. Instead of 0.5, let's put 0.25. So, interesting to note, whenever you use a work plane, your numbers change in reference to your work plane. So, I guess be careful. Let's put the work plane, let's reset it. All right, so we moved these cylinders into the blue shape. What we're gonna do is we're gonna select all the shapes. We could hit Control A on the keyboard at the same time, or create a box around all the shapes. And now click Group. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at it from the top view, and we're gonna zoom in a little bit. Let's see if we could. Okay, you could click the fit, just to look at your model. And you'll notice that we created holes within our blue shape. So, good job, guys. Good job. Remember those like deep red shapes that we worked on and made? Let's reveal them. So go here to the light bulb, and this is the light, like clear light bulb, and click show all. And we're gonna change our view real quick here. And those are the red shapes that we worked on. Let's click on the blue shape, and we're gonna move it away. And now we have just our red shapes. And we're gonna change the dimension real quick. So click on one of the red shapes, click here, and instead of 3.6, let's do 3.8. And this one, instead of 3.6, again, 3.8. Nice. We now made them officially taller. Let's change our perspective a little bit. Let's click right here. And let's click zoom fit. And what we're gonna do is make sure one of the red shapes is selected. Hit the shift key on the keyboard. And then click the blue shape. So both shapes are selected. The deep red shape and the blue shape. You're gonna click align. And we're gonna zoom out, and we're gonna click this black dot. It's the bottom left black dot. And we're gonna click this left bottom black dot. So once those two are selected, it should look like this. And then you're gonna click away from the model. Now click the blue model. And then hit the Shift key on your keyboard and select that red shape. So now both the red shape and the blue shape should be selected. We're gonna group them together. So we have one side down, and then we have this other red, deep red shape. We're gonna select it and then select the Shift key and select our blue shape. And we're gonna align it again. But we're gonna click this, the right black dot, and then we're gonna click the left top, like left top dot. So make sure to select this dot and this dot. And now we have the other side. What we're gonna do is select that red shape and then hit the Shift key on the keyboard. Select the blue shape and then group them together. Nice. It's looking good. So what those two shapes are like guardrails that help the coin not fall off when it's getting sorted. That's why I decided to add it. So let's look at it from another angle. Let's look at our view cube. It's looking very good. It's looking nice. Sometimes mistakes do happen in 3D printing, and we realize that certain parts of the 3D model need to be reinforced. So when I printed this 3D model, it's like right here, it needed like an extra wall, because when I 3D printed it, like there was a hole there. And what I want to do to make sure that there's no hole and it's reinforced, I'm just gonna grab another red shape, another box shape, put it somewhere on the work plane. Let's look at it from a different angle. I'm gonna change the dimensions of this. So I'm gonna make it 1.4 inches wide, and I'm gonna make it 0.15, like thin or widthwise, and then the thickness, the height, I'm gonna change it to 2.75. And what I want to do is click on it and move the shape in front of this one. I think I accidentally made it too wide. I'm going to change it instead of 1.4 to 1.25. Okay, so it matches the rest of the shape. Let's take a look at it from another angle. Okay, and what I want to do, zoom in, is click this shape. Click the Shift key on the keyboard, then click the big shape. So make sure everything is selected. Click Align, and I'm gonna click the Align here. So it's the bottom left black dot. And then I'm going to click the center black dot. Do you see that center black dot? Click that one. And let's look at it from the top perspective. So, like, it's too into the model and it's kind of messing up that cylinder shape. What I'm going to do is use the arrow keys on the keyboard. So these arrow keys right here, and I'm gonna push like I have to click away and then just click on that shape. And then I'm going to use those arrow keys to push it back one. So it's not overlapping with the cylinder shape. Let's look at it from a different angle. Let's zoom out. All right, it looks good. What I'm going to do is click on this shape that we just created and then click on the rest. And then making sure everything is highlighted, click the group. So everything is grouped together. We have really completed the model. So the rest of the document is talking about how when you make a model in this virtual world in a program, you might not be aware that it might not be perfect when you actually 3D print it. So the cool things about 3D printing is you could test the model. And I'm going to show you real quick what I use. Like I use a program called Simplify 3D to, print my model. So there's an additional step that is needed. And what I do is I have to export the model. So I have to go here to export. Then I have to click right here to STL, because those are the only, it's like the main type of file that all 3D printers use. So click STL. It should be downloaded. The name that Tinkercad generated for this model is Gran Usam Alias. And I gotta remember that. So when I come over here and I import the model, I have to go to my downloads, and there it is. And there it appears. And I click over here, prepare to print. And what I can do is click here, play, pause, and it shows me how the model will be 3D printed. So these are the movements that the 3D printer will use to create this particular model. And that little dark cylinder shape, that represents the nozzle of a printer. So that's where the plastic comes out. So this is a simulation of a 3D printer. Now, we might have made this model good for 3D printing, but perhaps the cylinder holes are not big enough for the coins. And that is the issue that I ran into. That it turned out that these cylinder shapes were not big enough. So when I printed the model and I tested it, the coins weren't slipping in. So I had to go back into Tinkercad and ungroup everything. So I had to click ungroup several times and change these cylinder shapes so that they allowed the coins to fit in. And that's something that you will always encounter when you're making something and actually physically making it, that you'll have to go in and change it even though you worked hard on it. This is something called iterative design, where it is a type of design methodology where you're prototyping and testing and analyzing, and then you're just making it better. And everyone does this. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a lot. I can't wait to see your own version of the coin sorter. And I'll see you next time.